Now we're on to the finishing and painting of the castings. These have all had a good file down. The ends have been filed off. Some of the grinding marks from the foundry are too deep, so they'll get filled. Then after the filing, they had a good clean and degrease with acetone. I'm going to fill the castings with big boy metal filler because it was available. I think any car body filler will do equally as well. This is supposed to be easy to sand, but then they all are. I've just got a scrap of wood to mix it on. It stinks to high heaven. The instructions say half a tub of filler to half a tube of hardener, which is unhelpful when you only want a little bit. I shall give it what looks right and hope for the best. And it goes everywhere because my bit of wood's not big enough. I think the goal is a thin smear all over. I think fingers are probably good at implement as any. Make sure you're wearing gloves, obviously. Now, I can't see the camera screen, so apologies if this is going in and out of shot. Fingers definitely seem the best tool to use. I'll do the arms half at a time, then let it go off so I've got something dry to hold on to. Right, I shall leave those to dry for now, and then I'll come back and do the other halves. That's the arms completely coated now. Hopefully not too thick. Hopefully it won't take too much sanding. Anyway, I shall get the sanding. This is just a strip of 80 grit emery tape. And this is going to take ages, so I shall come back when I'm finished. Right, here we are. These castings have now all been sanded back. I sanded them back with the 80 grit tape. and then I gave them another go over with a sanding sponge. I had no idea what the grit is. I got it cheap from one of these cheap hardware stores. Here's the first arm. Here's the second arm. You can see I've gone down to the metal in places. In places there's still a reasonably good layer of filler, and they've been wiped down with alcohol to remove all the dust and any grease. Now they need masking. I found the neatest way to get a good edge here is just to rub the knife blade around the edge. Knocks hell out of the blade, but they're cheap disposable blades. And you can peel the tape off, then you get a really nice neat edge around here. I'll do the rest off camera and I'll come back to you when I'm finished. Now we've got the pieces masked. Discs of masking tape over here, and the cotter pin holes get painted right up to the hole. So I've just put sausages of kitchen roll through to stop paint getting in the hole. These are just going to get a very light coat of a grey primer so I can see all the defects and then attend to those before I start giving it the proper paint coats. For this I'm just using Halford's grey primer. Like I say, just a light coat. Once that's dry, I'll do the other end of the arms, and then I'll give it a good look over and see where it needs a bit more sanding. May need a little bit more filling in places. So I'll bring you back when the paint's done and dry. Back again, now the primer's dried. You can see on the photos that there are still quite a lot of defects that need attending to. The parts have had a coat of knifing putty applied to the defects. You can see where it is on the casting. This is a product I used, Isopon knifing putty. Seems to be very good. This is what it looks like after the putty's dried and been sanded. As you can see, most of the putty is gone. There's just a few little bits left where the defects were. This is then had to wipe off with alcohol on a paper towel just to remove the dust and degrease it. So I'll finish sanding off the other parts. Then I'll give it another light telltale coat of primer, and then we'll bring you back to show you what it looks like. That's the knifing putty sanded down, and the coats have had a thin coat of primer, and now they're looking pretty good. That's a fairly nice smooth finish. I think there are a couple of very small defects. I shall give these a very close looking at. There's some there that do need a little bit more attention. So that'll be a case of giving them another bit of a sand, a bit of a knifing putty, and just making sure we've got all the defects out. So not completely perfect, but almost good enough. Right, so we'll come back when I'm happy with them. After a couple of rounds of applying some knifing filler, then sanding back, a quick light spray with primer, then checking for defects, rinse and repeat. Finally got the castings to a level where I'm happy with them. As you can see, they're not perfect, but they're not bad. They've also had 2 or 3 coats of primer, and now they're ready for the colour coat. They're going to get painted with Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch. I've gone for a sage green. I think that'll look quite nice. And thank you for everybody who made suggestions on the first video. That's the start of the painting. I shall continue with the rest off camera and I'll show you the finished result. Here are the parts after they've had about 3 or 4 coats of paint, and they come out quite nicely. There's the pillar tool in all her glory. So I'm very happy with the green paint. I think that looks just right for a nice workshop tool. And the only thing left to do is to make the ball handles, which I'll do later on. I'll do a separate video on them. So I've just started my Quorn tool grinder, and that needs a pile of ball handles as well. Very pleased with that. It was a nice, very satisfying build. The finishing was a little bit tedious, filling in all the marks on the castings, but now it's done, it was worth the effort. I've got 1 or 2 more tools to make for it. I need to make a special staking tool so I can punch numbers nice and neatly. Again, that'll get used on the Quorn tool grinder kit, but I'll do that when I need it. I shall probably make a larger tapping attachment as well, but that will be just a different version of that, so there won't be any point in videoing that. So, barring the ball handles, I'm calling that one done. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make it as much as I've enjoyed making it. Here's just a couple of close-up shots taken on my phone. The base is an old cutting board which I've protected with a bit of teak oil. Of course I wouldn't have been so vain as to polish up the screw heads, would I? My next project will be the Quorn tool grinder. That's going to be a long project. There's a lot of work involved in it. If you want an idea of what there is, go over and have a look at Badger's workshop. Baz must be about halfway through his by now. He's doing a cracking job. I'll put a link in the description to his channel. There will be at least a couple of side projects and a couple of diversions on the way. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks again. See you next time.